The final trailer for James Cameron's Avatar 3 has been released, and it gives us an emotional and action-packed look at what director James Cameron has been working on since The Way of Water. The potential storytelling twists and visuals both look outstanding, and it leaves us with just the right amount of hype going into the newest film in the saga. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you my reaction and breakdown for the final trailer and new footage for Avatar Fire and Ash. Before I get into it though, if you want to keep up to date on any of my content surrounding the Avatar sequels and other sci-fi series such as Denis Villeneuve's Dune, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into the new trailer for Avatar 3. So the new tickets on sale trailer, a Japanese trailer, and an extended TV spot for Avatar Fire and Ash have been released overnight, and all three marketing teasers include some interesting new footage from James Cameron's film. Most of the new footage is in the tickets on sale trailer, but there are some very intriguing shots in the other two as well. To begin with, it looks like a certain point that I theorised in my Jake Sully theory video from the other week looks to be happening. I said in that video that following the moment from the previous trailer where Jake is captured and taken to the Bridgehead base or one of the other RDA bases, he would be rescued by Neytiri and some other characters. I also said that I believed that because the fight between him and Quaritch, which looks to be towards the very end of the film, is at a floating mountains location, probably away from that base. Well, the footage in the new trailer kind of confirms that this is exactly what we might be seeing. There's a shot of Neytiri with Mangwan face paint and battle scenes across the three new trailers that suggest Neytiri is rescuing Jake from the Bridgehead base and the eventual destruction of a good part of it. It looks like she and a few others must go on a secret mission to save Jake from the RDA, and they do so by pretending to be a part of the Ash clan with their war paint. This scene with Jake seems to be following that rescue scene, and Jake says in that scene that I can't let something happen. So I'm guessing that they suspect that Quaritch, Farang and the RDA are coming back for all of the remaining clans that reside at that floating mountain location. And you'd have to guess that Jake is worried about his family and that they are planning to survive a big attack. So it makes sense why he's saying what he is. The floating mountain location that they are at seems to be the same place that Jake eventually fights at with Quaritch from the other trailers and where the big final battle is taking place. And with the new TV spot showing footage of the Metkayina village being destroyed, it suggests why they might have all travelled there. I think a lot of the Metkayina will be killed during that attack from Quaritch and the Ash people, and it will essentially be this film's version of the home tree destruction from the first movie, but with another group of Na'vi that Cameron has made us connect to. And then also the Metkayina who survived the attack in Fire and Ash come to this location, and Quaritch and the RDA want to eliminate them all there. The reason I say that is because another shot suggests that Turuk Makto assembles all the other clans for the final fight, a reflection of what happened in the first film. So maybe Quaritch says to Varang that if she helps him eliminate Jake and the other Na'vi clans on Pandora, who are all assembled for this fight at the floating mountains location, then she and her clan will have a false sense of freedom on the planet. She clearly has hatred for the other Na'vi, and it's all based on what happened to the Ash people with their home tree in the past. So Varang would have reasons to believe this. Speaking of Turuk Makto, aside from assembling the other Na'vi clans on Pandora, there is another shot of him having been hit by an arrow, which has gotten a lot of people worried online that he will die in this new film. It's definitely something that could happen, especially as he's not seen in some of the footage towards the end of the film. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just a misdirect to get you worried for his character. I doubt they'd want to put something as heavily suggestive as this in the trailer if it does indeed happen. So I'm gonna guess that he doesn't die in this scene and that he will still have a big role of reuniting the clans and lifting them from what seems like an impossible fight against the RDA and the Ash people. The next thing to discuss from all the new footage is the heavy emphasis on Kiri and Eywa. We get Neytiri, her mother Moat, and Kiri within a new scene, and Kiri says there's something you're hiding. Moat then replies, tell her it is time. There's also a brief glimpse of Kiri's next Eywa vision, which is a somewhat expansion on what we saw in The Way of Water, where she saw Grace there. So based on this, I'm going to stick with what I said in my theory video before, in that it's revealed that Kiri has no father. I also think she'll learn here that she is essentially Eywa in Na'vi form, that Eywa flows through her physically. It would explain her abilities in The Way of Water, having no father, and her importance to the rest of the story. Of course, the question of what this means going forward, if it is true, is up for debate. How will Kiri impact the story on a deeper level using her connection to Eywa? What deeper secret will we learn about Eywa that really shows the power she holds? And is Eywa actually connected at all to the Ash clan, as Farang highlights that Eywa did not come when her people suffered? There's loads of other questions we can formulate too, but at the end of the day, I think it's just great that this new trailer put a focus on that, suggesting that we will get some bigger answers surrounding it. But yeah, for now, in this scene, I think we're getting the reveal of Eywa flowing through Kiri in physical form and her having no father. The final new thing that was heavily featured in all the new footage was some shots that looked to be from towards the very end of the film. The first thing to mention is that it looks like Spider protects Jake and makes a decision not to join Quaritch. We were wondering for a while what the reason would be why Quaritch would ultimately turn leading into the next film, that is, if he does make it out of it alive. Cameron did say that he would be in all 5 Avatar films, so it had us suspecting he would survive the end of Fire and Ash. So if that is true, I think this confrontation with Jake and Spider being a big wedge between them is ultimately going to be what causes Quaritch to change or be put on a different path. I suggested in my Jake Sully theory video that Quaritch might kill Jake, the one purpose he has as a recombinant version of Quaritch, and by doing that, he ends up with no purpose afterwards. Add on that Spider is looking at him like some kind of monster, and you could have a Quaritch that is deeply altered and switches sides for Avatar 4. It makes me even more confident that something like this will happen, as Cameron also made some interesting comments in the recent Empire article that came out the other day. He said, Quaritch is undergoing an identity crisis. His interest in the biological son of his biological precursor form is all about trying to define, am I a completely new person? Am I bound by the rules and the behaviours of the person whose memories and personality I was imprinted with? It's a true existential dilemma for him in the philosophical sense. At what point does he cross that line and realise he's more Na'vi than he is human? He could connect, he could plug into Eywa, and Jake wants him to. I don't want to tell you where it goes, but we're going to see all this play out because Jake would rather have this guy on his side. So yeah, that was some pretty big hints from James Cameron towards that, and to be honest, I think me and many others have been saying this since the release of the last film. Spider protecting Jake is the biggest hint yet, and him being heavily present in the final battle scene makes that even more of a discussion point. The only thing I'm not sure of now when it comes to this final battle is whether Jake Sully dies or not. In the Japanese trailer, there's a shot that people are saying looks to be from right at the end of the film, following that floating mountains battle and the fight between Jake and Quaritch. It's obvious that nearly all of the main characters are featured in this shot, including both Jake and Neytiri. So if it is from the end, then that would mean all of the main characters survive. Now, I struggle to believe that all the characters will survive, and for all we know, maybe Jake is dying in this shot from an injury, and they are watching Pandora's son in his final moments. On top of this, Disney has a history of editing shots in their trailers, adding characters into them that aren't there or alive at that particular point in time. We don't know the context of what has happened leading up to this, or whether this is the final shot from the film. I personally think that this is a misdirect and is from before the final battle. I think it could be after Neytiri rescues Jake and he's having a moment of reconnecting with his family. Maybe I'm wrong and it is one of the final shots of the film, but it just seems too obvious to put a shot like this front and centre. So what are my thoughts on the final trailer and footage for Avatar Fire and Ash? Well, while all 3 of the teasers are quite short and don't feature loads of new footage, I really appreciate that it didn't just rely on showing off more from the big battles and action scenes, but thematically it hints at deeper emotional undercurrents. The new footage succeeds in balancing the spectacle with stakes, world building with character emotion, and gives us the promise of something both familiar and unfamiliar all at the same time. The risks feel real, the scale feels large, and the emotional undercurrent feels deeper than it did in previous entries. It really gave me this feeling that Jake and the Kiri's children are the key to all of it, and the message of the film that Cameron is going for is protecting the next generation. Whether it's the shot of Spider in his protection of Jake, the line from Jake about not letting something happen, or visual cues like Jake's children watching so much destruction at such a young age, reflective in a way of what we saw from the Kiri's perspective in the first Avatar. I get the feeling with this installment that while it's set up to be the middle chapter in Cameron's saga, that it will feel like a conclusion to what we've seen in the previous 2. Cameron has said that Avatar really is an answer to how we have dealt with nature and other species. And with all of those concerns, it makes the central conflicts of the Avatar world have much more weight to them. If the film can live up to what the final trailers visualize, then it could be a very hard-hitting entry that works as an impactful ending to one story, but a start to the journey of Avatar 4 and 5 that reportedly takes place after a big time skip. But that was my video discussing my thoughts and breaking down the final trailer and footage for Avatar Fire and Ash. It really was a great new look at the film, and it's got me particularly excited to see how Cameron will end his new movie. But if you've seen the new footage, let me know down below in the comments section what you thought of it, alongside whether it gets you excited for James Cameron's new film. For much more videos and news on James Cameron's Avatar saga, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.